And forget the political heat. Right now, it is just a lot of heat, period, for two-thirds of the country experiencing 90-plus degree weather, and it will get worse in Chicago, in Detroit, in New York, and much of the country, two-thirds of which is embroiled in 90-degree-plus days and looking at far worse in the next day to come. Now, we spare no expense on this show to show you how quickly things can melt under conditions like these. Take this ice cream popsicle. In mere seconds, it's gone. There you go. Any ice cream popsicle, anytime, any of these cities, that's what happens. You're welcome, America. Now, what is going to be ailing you for the next couple of days, America? All right, Tracy, steer us through this. Tracy Carrasco of our Fox Business Network. You're out there with the peeps who are roasting, no doubt.
I sure am. Now, I'm looking at a temperature reading on a building across the street. It says 95 degrees right now, so it certainly feels like summer here in New York City. Across much of the East Coast, the Midwest, the Mid-Atlantic, and with temperatures topping 90 degrees, many people are going to be running their ACs, and this may boost power demand and natural gas bills to a 9-month all-time high. And while it's going to take a few more hot days to make up for these record seasonal low prices that we saw this past spring, rates for wholesale power and spot gas, they are already up today, expected to climb. And many people I spoke with out here earlier, they said they're willing to pay whatever it takes just to keep cool.
You know the phrase happy wife, happy life? So much better to run the AC than to worry about the cost.
AC all the time, in the car, at home, what else? And shadows under trees.
Sometimes when it hits the 90s, you need the AC. Yeah.
Now, relief is expected to arrive later this week with some cooler temperatures, but if you look at the calendar, it's not even officially summer. So, Neil, I'm going to send it back to you in the air-conditioned studio.
All right. Well, it is nice and cozy here, Tracy. Thank you very, very much. Now, a lot of you are already emailing about the popsicle we were showing here. Then he said, why not show an egg being fried or Neil, owing to your Italian heritage, some Italian sausage on the sidewalk? I like that. We will work on that. In the meantime, there you go. I got to this puppy too late. It was already gone. So I was licking it off the sidewalk, which was embarrassing. You can't do that. Anyway, how long is all of this going to last? We've got meteorologist Adam Klutz joining us right now in the Fox News Weather Center. What are we looking at here, Adam?
Hey there, Neil. Well, for one thing, I just saw a waste of some popsicles, but otherwise we're dealing with some incredibly warm air that is fueling at least a little bit of nasty weather there out there across the country. Now, I need my Weather 8 rim right now, if I could, and we're going to talk about some of this heat. But you are noticing, yes, there are showers lifting across portions of the country, and it is going to bring perhaps even some severe weather into some of the high plains before the day is over. So that's something we're going to be paying attention to as we continue to track some of this weather that's being driven by those incredibly warm temperatures that have really piled up there in the center of the country. You see that stormy weather, but everything out in front of it, well, that's where that heat is. That's where those popsicles are melting. Take a look at some of these current temperatures. Middle of the country, hovering there right into the lower 90s at this point, 93 degrees in Chicago. It's up along the East Coast as well, 92 degrees, and actually up to 95 degrees at this point in Boston. Incredibly warm. Now, if you add in the humidity, that's when you get the heat index. You can often add a couple more degrees to all these numbers, especially back off towards the west. Look at this. This is what it feels like when you step outside. 97 degrees for folks in Tulsa, 99 degrees in Kansas City, mid-90s there in Chicago. All this heat, all this humidity, that's one reason to stay indoors. But another reason, air quality alerts. When you get this much heat, this much humidity, oftentimes in major metropolitan areas, that's where you start to see some low air quality. Smog alerts stretching up and down the East Coast, back into upstate New York, and then across the Midwest, Indianapolis, up towards Chicago. All areas where if you're elderly, extremely young, I know you want to stay indoors anyways when the temperatures are in the mid-90s, but smog also an issue. This does linger into your Tuesday forecast. Look at this. We're going to be up close, at least borderline record-breaking temperatures, really cities across the eastern half of the country into Tuesday, maybe beginning to break a little bit on Wednesday and Thursday. But we've got at least a couple more very hot days out there, Neil.
All right, Adam, thank you very, very much. Adam Klutz with the latest on that. Again, for those of you who are Your World fans looking at this weather, we've already designated tomorrow a clothing optional day. I just want to leave you with that image before I go to my next guest. That would be energy analyst Phil Flynn. And Phil, I mean, we always look at these sort of things and the predictable pattern emerges, right? Utility usage,
it does.
Power prices, that goes up, the prices with them goes up. Spell it all out.
That's right. It can hang on to your wallet every time, Neil. And as soon as the redder that thermometer gets, the more it's going to cost you. And we've already seen that in the wholesale power market across the country. Those prices are absolutely soaring right now. Now, the good news is that at some point it may cool down and your wallet's going to look a little bit better. But I really am concerned because here it is, summer. We're getting a heat wave and prices are spiking on the wholesale level. What does that tell us about the rest of the summer? It shows you that in our rush to get away from coal power and to increase our use of natural gas, that maybe we're not keeping up with real demand. And real demand comes when you have a summer that's hotter than normal or a winter that's cooler than normal. And let's face it, for the last couple of years, we've been getting away with summers that haven't been that hot and winters that haven't been that cold. I'm afraid that if we get a real hot summer this year, we might find out how vulnerable the system is and how much it's going to hit us in the pocketbook.
All right, my friend, thank you very, very much. Again, very early on, and this is the first noticeable heat wave of this young summer season. Technically, it's not summer yet, but enough of a worry here that a lot of folks are putting out warnings, and utilities, of course, are running at full capacity in some of these cities. So you know what can often happen, brownouts, blackouts, that sort of thing. So we're just letting you know. All right, in the meanwhile, there is no heat wave for stocks except the selling variety here, because for technology in general, and that goes with Apple and Netflix and Amazon, all down today. Now, even though Apple is still up north of 50% over the past year, it is giving up a lot of ground just over the last couple of days. Some are interpreting this as a sign that folks are thinking, well, the tech stocks have had their run, so the question automatically becomes, well, who will take their place? Too early to tell. We'll keep an eye on it for you. In the meantime, we've got Senator Chuck Schumer calling on the president to testify to Congress. Now, that's getting a lot of attention. But what about the top Democrat calling now for Loretta Lynch and whether she should be investigated? After this.